We are live.
Yay! Same bat channel, different bat time. I am
Well,
Old Dude, and he is,
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
and this is the Clash of Kings John 2. And in my book, it's only about 5.5 pages, if that. But it's still a
Yeah,
really good chapter. I
well,
really liked it.
that's why I thought it made sense for us to do this because it's pretty short.
Yeah, well, I was like, yeah, we'll do it short. And then as it started, as I'm writing down,
Oh,
and on the very first page, I get an entire page of my notebook, and I'm like, oh shit, we
yeah,
might not have enough time.
uh, yeah.
But
It was hard not to just read the whole chapter practically because there's so many things in here. But yeah,
yeah, but as usual, oh, we got a Edward Martin. In the shadow of the moon, my sorrows bleed. Well, one, thank you for the comment. We hardly ever get a
absolutely.
Edward Martin comment on our live stream, so we definitely appreciate it. He's one of the few people that sorry, I'm still coughing with stuff.
That's all right.
One of the few people I actually I very rarely go to Twitter, but when I go, I always try to at least give a heart or a comment on his. Got a beautiful family, got a beautiful silverback goatee going on. Just a gorgeous man. We appreciate him. But as usual, if you've seen any of these, we start with the brains of the operation, which is Richard, and then I jump in with my stupid stuff. But to make a comment real quick, I was originally planning on wearing my House Dane shirt for John chapters,
Nice.
but it helps if you wash it, and I didn't have it clean, so I just chose Blackfire. Sorry,
All right. Fair enough.
but take it away, Richard.
Well, thank you to Edward Martin for the comment, and thank you for kind words as always. So
Oh
this
yeah,
is the middle deserted village chapter. It's in some ways it's the most ominous because of course we know that we've read the prologue of the Game of Thrones, and Lizzie likes the shirt. So and we've seen John has seen the dead rise as well. So these characters are appropriately scared of their deserted villages, and Danny's like, pah, deserted village, deserted towns, or I guess there were like three
yeah,
of them in hers, right? And she's like, there's like, and then they hear there's four, and John's like, this is kind of spooky, right? We know the dead walk up here, and then we're gonna get Arya, and she's gonna be like, we should not stay here.
yeah.
Anyway, so just it feels like he kind of like he starts off with like empty villages, and then it's like empty villages, a little ominous in this one, right? And then of course a big battle in the next one.
These are the
So
chapters of villages.
yeah, White Tree, the village was named on Sam's old maps. John did not think it much of a village. Four tumble-down one-room houses of unmortared stone surrounded an empty sheepfold and a well. The houses were roofed with sod, the windows shuttered with ragged pieces of hide, and above them loomed the pale limbs and dark red leaves of a monstrous great weirwood. It was the biggest tree Jon Snow had ever seen, the trunk near 8 feet wide, the branches spreading so far that the entire village was shaded beneath their canopy. The size did not disturb him so much as the face, the mouth especially. No simple carved slash, but a jagged hollow large enough to swallow a sheep. Those are not sheep bones, though, nor is that a sheep's skull in the ashes. An old tree, Mormont sat his horse, frowning. Old, his raven agreed from his shoulder. Old, 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 and powerful. Jon could feel the power. So Jon is just nonchalantly feeling the power. But
Yeah,
of course, it's hard to be a skeptic when you've seen the dead walk.
yeah. I got a couple of things just on this first paragraph. Okay, just bear with me.
Yeah, yeah.
The this is a very big. It's 8 feet wide or whatever he says it is. It's a huge tree, and it's got bones in the big giant mouth on it. All right, where we see another very large weirwood tree is at the Wolf Den, and that is the one that has given us hints to human sacrifices with the entrails hanging in the limbs and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if this tree has anything to do with Mormont, or not Mormont, but Manderley, which we also get a hint that Manderley might be eating Freyprot pies. So you might not be opposed to cannibalism. Um, uh, but that was just popping in the back of my head. And then um, we get the I don't know if I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but we get the skull that Mormont looks at, and then
Lady Thistle says, "Me in the woods, nonchalantly feeling the power."
no, exactly. But underneath that skull that John pulls out to give to Mormont is a smaller broken jawbone. And in my mind, you're like automatically thinking child. But then I got to thinking, what if they're sacrificing children of the forest to this weirwood tree?
Yeah,
Would that
yeah,
be a greater sacrifice than just giving them regular humans? And if
yeah.
if the children of the forest are being sacrifices to weirwoods, could that be another nail in the coffin on why the children of the forest are so dead set against man? And then
Yeah,
the
sure.
last thing on that, John sensed the power of this tree. We know wargs and skin changers can sense each other. We've seen it when with Bran. We've seen it with Varamir Six Skins. Um, so are weirwood trees actually just skin changers of a different form, a different type of life force, or a different type of life form?
Lizzie says, like he just hasn't figured out how to use the force yet, or that he has the force.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like it is kind of funny. He's like, John can feel the power. Okay.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot written in that one little sentence, though. I mean, you could take it a lot of different ways. I mean, he's a novice. He's brand new. He's a babe, and
Yeah.
and so I look at it as a warg
We're
or a
gonna get
skin
to
changer.
we'll get to the child skull here, and we'll talk about it again.
Okay. Sorry, I got ahead. I got excited. I love this
That's all
chapter.
right. Yeah, yeah. My Lord Father believed no man could tell a lie in front of a heart tree. The old gods know when men are lying. My father believed the same, said the old bear. Let me have a look at that skull. So, if the old gods can communicate with your audience, then that becomes effectively true since they're able to look back through time and see the truth of things and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Slung across his back in a black leather shoulder sheath was Longclaw, the hand and a half bastard blade the old bear had given him for saving his life. A bastard sword for a bastard, the men joked. The hilt had been fashioned new for him, adorned with a wolf's head pommel in pale stone, but the blade itself was Valyrian steel, old and light and deadly sharp. A pale stone sword for the man who proved himself worthy, born at the pale stone sword from the mother who allegedly killed herself with the pale stone sword.
Exactly.
Beneath the skull, he saw another, smaller, the jaw broken off. It was half buried in ash and bits of bone. So the second skull is probably a small human, but symbolically, I still think of it as one of what Bran calls the wise old men. I like to use wise old men to remind myself that Bran uses he/him pronouns with at least one singer and calls them the wise old men. I think the show warped our expectations of these wise old men. Right? There's people out there who are claiming that all the children are female and stuff. It's like maybe in the show. So anyway, I just
Yeah,
think it's
well,
worth
and then in the books,
remembering.
their sex is and ambiguous, whatever the
Ambiguous.
yeah, that's the word.
He specifically calls them wise old men, and he specifically calls one of the when he sees the singer, he uses both the word he and the word him. So
Yeah.
I mean, the point is they're not clearly all female as people seem to believe.
Now, Lady Thistle, are you saying the original skin changers as the children of the forest or as the weirwood trees? So I got thinking, if Bran can skin change a weirwood tree to see out of its eyes, can the connection go the other direction? The weirwood tree actually skin change a human, the trees. All right, cool. Thank you. I agree 100%.
Anyway,
All right, sorry.
yeah, that's right. The children of the forest could speak to the dead, it said, but I can't. He tossed the skull back in the mouth of the tree where it landed with a puff of fine ash. So the puff of ash could represent the long night, right? And LML would probably claim that the skull's a meteor and so forth. But anyway. But the children of the forest do know the secrets of the dead because they're able to see the past, right?
Right.
Anyway. Bad enough when the dead come walking, he said to John as they crossed the village. Now the old bear wants them talking as well? No good will come of that, I'll warrant. And who's to say the bones wouldn't lie? Why should death make a man truthful or even clever? The dead are likely dull fellows, full of tedious complaints. The ground's too cold, my gravestone should be larger. Why does he get more worms than I do? We have to get in Ed's best quotes.
Well, I mean, I know we've always talked about the casting on Game of Thrones and everything, and the characters. The casting of Ed on the show was brilliant. He's like one of my. You know how Bronn became a favorite character, even though he was secondary character to begin with. Well, Ed is a secondary character, and he is within one of the. I mean, he's one of my favorite characters to watch in the show, just for the ACoK quotes we get and the way he delivers them. He did a really good job.
So, who is the OG inhabitant of the trees? Did they grow from seeds with the ability to have awareness, or does a being implant into the tree? Um, that's a good question. It's interesting because you'll hear people, including LML, say that there's no such thing as weirwood seeds, and that doesn't appear to be true because Catlin has talked specifically about how they're trying to grow weirwoods at places and so forth. So,
well, I know that the few times that we're told about them trying to grow, they grow from cuttings.
They don't. Right. Well,
they use cuttings to try to regrow them.
They're unable to. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, the root.
I don't know I don't know if they ever say. They said that they couldn't get one to take root in the Erie, for example, right?
Right.
Well, because it's on
a stone basin. The roots can't get through. Is the reason that. Well,
she speaks as if she knows of them trying to do this. Is what's interesting.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd think that Bran's not. The green seers are people being used by the trees to move about and live beyond their immortal stationary lives, and the trees could have called the first green seer like they call Bran.
Yeah.
That's
I tend to agree. That's about what. Yeah. Lady Thistle, like I said, she's up there. I haven't ran across anything that Lady Thistle has said that I am against. Nope. Yep.
All right. So anyway, we have to keep all Ed's best quotes. So let's go on to more quotes. There were no furnishings, no sign that people had lived here, but for some ashes beneath the smoke hole in the roof. What a dismal place to live, he said. I was born in a house much like this, declared Ed Dollar said. Those were my enchanted years. Later, I fell on hard times. A nest of dry straw bedding filled one corner of the room. Ed looked at it with longing. I'd give all the gold in Castle Rock to sleep in a bed again. You call that a bed? It's softer than the ground and has a roof over it. I call it a bed. It's all in where you're standing, as Egret would say.
There you go.
Lady Thistle now's the time to start your cult. Okay.
Exactly. Get the followers before Ice and FireCon, then we'll just grow the herd from there.
There's nothing here. Nothing was what he'd expected. White Tree was the fourth village they had passed and had been the same in all of them. The people were gone, vanished with the scant possessions and whatever animals they may have had. None of the villages showed any signs of having been attacked. They were simply empty. What do you think happened to them all? John asked. Something worse than we can imagine, suggested Dollar said. Well, I might be able to imagine it, but you're not. Bad enough to know you're going to come to some awful end without thinking about it aforetime. Join us. Other dogs ranged through the village. Chet was cursing them loudly, his voice thick with the anger he never seemed to put aside. The light filtering through the red leaves of the weirwood made the boils on his face look even more inflamed than usual. When he saw John, his eyes narrowed. There was no love lost between them. The other houses had yielded no wisdom. Gone, cried Mormont's raven, flapping up into the weirwood to perch above them. Gone, gone, gone. But George loves his other language, and this is some nice foreshadowing for Chet and his hatred for John.
Yeah, and there's a couple times, I know I've said it before, and it probably means nothing, but the mannerism, the way the raven, Mormont's raven speaks, is he repeats the word. We're told in the manner of which he repeats the word, it ends the sentence, and then we get the word again, and it's a sentence again 3 times. Gone, cried the raven, flapping up into the weirwood to perch above them.
Yep.
Period. Gone,
Yep.
gone, gone.
Yep. That's the
But then,
pattern.
and then,
Whether
and then
I don't know what it means, but that's the pattern.
yeah, yeah. Well, something else coming up. Oh, I mean, there toward the end, there's something else that involves the Raven stuff. But go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, this Mormont gives his commentary, and maybe we should take his word. He may actually be right. Usually our characters are wrong, but maybe Mormont's actually right here. So we'll see.
All right.
John heard a rustling from the red leaves above. Two branches parted, and he glimpsed a little man moving from limb to limb as easily as a squirrel. Bedwick stood no more than 5 feet tall, but the gray streaks in his hair showed his age. The other rangers called him Giant. So the giants call the children squirrels, and giant is compared to a squirrel and is small like a little wise man. So yeah,
Yeah.
lots of the
Oh, we
children
get a
of the forest
squirrel
references there.
reference, and we get a remembrance or thinking of Arya in the same chapter.
Oh yeah. Jests had grown fewer and tempers shorter. No one would admit to being afraid. They were men of the Night's Watch after all, but John could feel the unease. 4 empty villages, no wildlings anywhere, even the game seemingly fled. The haunted forest had never seemed more haunted, even veteran rangers agreed. As he rode, John peeled off his glove to air his burned fingers. Ugly things. He remembered suddenly how he used to muss Arya's hair, his little stick of a sister. He wondered how she was faring. It made him a little sad to think that he might never muss her hair again. He began to flex his hand, opening and closing the fingers. If he let his sword hand stiffen and grow clumsy, it well might be the end of him, he knew. The end of Jon Snow? Surely that would never happen.
Yeah, well, I think we get the foreshadowing of John's end would come about if he can't wield his sword, and then we get the end of Dance of Dragons. And if you're on board with the glamour and the what happened to Jon Snow, the Order of the Green Hand, he can't draw his sword because it's not with him. It's it's the swords on uh, uh, Tormund, and John's trying to draw the sword because he's still picturing what's happening to Tormund, but the sword's not actually on his side to draw. I don't know. It's just for it.
I'm not really on board. I think George wants it to be ambiguous and he wants to keep his options open, but in general, the symbolism points to John as Jesus. So he
right. Well, I don't. I mean, that tells me that the end of Dance of Dragons. I mean, it's that. That's not the end because it doesn't really pertain to his sword fighting ability.
Sure. But anyway, it's just that the hinting that Jon Snow might die, and there's going to be another hint that Jon Snow might die here in a little bit here.
If you can't tell, I'm giddy today about this chapter. One, it's 2 in a row, and I feel better. But my brain, as soon as it opened the chapter this morning, is just going in all different directions, and it's kind of hard to contain it. I kind of blame it on the medicine too. It has a a wandering effect on my brain.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh yeah. I only got like 2 more days left in medicine.
We didn't actually mention Lizzie's comment here, skinny squirrel.
There you go. I just think it's odd we get a reference to a man with the word squirrel in it, and then we get the remembering Arya.
Yeah, and certainly she does that, right? She winds up climbing up there and even practicing up in the trees and so forth.
Yeah, like Tarzan.
And she wears the
little
acorns?
Smallwoods, the acorns.
Yeah,
Lady Smallwood gave her. Yeah.
Yep.
Lizzie, your brain has been sick. Now it's vomiting every crazy idea. Your subconscious has cough medicine. Yeah, you ain't lying. If you've watched any of my earlier videos, I can get out there really, really far, and it's hard to not jump down every damn rabbit hole that pops up.
So I was just testing my eyes to see which one could see better, and pretty decent. Anyway,
there you go.
No, just something the text is pretty small on the phone there, right? And so So I just thought
Yeah.
and it looked pretty sharp, and so I was just kind of like, I wonder which eye's doing a better job reading it.
I thought you was winking at me. I couldn't tell.
No, I was just trying to figure it out, just because
All right.
I'm still experimenting with this to just see how well it does up close. It's not
We
bad.
got two more.
It's not
You got
bad.
2 more, less than 2 months till Ice and Fire Con, so you get plenty of time, man.
Yeah, to heal up my eye. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good now. If there were no more healing, I'd still be pretty happy. And
Do they give you a
uh,
window of how long before it's actually completely healed?
yeah, I mean, they say most of the healing takes place in the first week, as I understand it.
Okay.
Um, but I talked to my father about that. He said it definitely even still continued to get better and better over time in terms of the glare and stuff. So there's definitely significant glare from
Yeah.
lights. But
Well, I
anyway,
thought about it, and I'm still possibly thinking about it. But then I told my wife if I take my glasses off, you can see my face better, and that's not a good thing. So I'll keep the glasses on.
yeah, I mean, if you're at 50, you may as well just wait till you actually have cataract, I suppose.
Okay.
Have you been teaching them to talk? He asked Sam. A few words. 3 of them can say snow. One bird croaking my name was bad enough, said John. And snow's nothing a black brother wants to hear about. Snow often meant death in the north. So John's name means death in the north. No foreshadowing
There we go.
there.
The who was it? Quinn, the DM. I think it was one of his videos talking about. It might not have been him. It might have been somebody else. But talking about the dry humor of John throughout the books. It's really funny. Some of his chapters are. It's not knee slapping type of humor or anything, but he has a really quick wit. And some of the stuff he says is extremely. I thought that was really funny. But he's a really funny person, and a lot of people keep him always gloom and doom. And no, you're not reading it right. He's actually a funny character to read.
The the usually Jamie is the funniest, and even people around Jamie that aren't Jamie are pretty funny. Like the
Yeah,
heir to the twins, when his father is still alive, he like insults him right to his face, right? He's like that ought not prove much difficulty. He goes, try not to be. You have the command. Try not to be so stupid as your father. And he goes, that ought not prove much difficulty.
yeah. You can definitely tell when George R. R. Martin is in a good mood when he's writing.
Yeah. It tends to be the Jamie chapters later, and that maybe the Tyrion
Yeah,
chapters earlier, but the Jamie chapters later.
but when he's writing, he has to be in a good mood because the good mood, the funny, the whatever you want to call it, is just coming off the page at you.
Yep.
It's fun to read.
200 brave men had left the wall, and the only one who was not growing more fearful was Sam, the self-confessed coward. I like to think Sam admitting he's afraid is so that he can be brave, as Ned would say.
Yeah. Yep.
We're a large party, John had said. The game's probably been frightened away by all the noise we make on the march. Frightened away by something, no doubt, Tywin said. Tywin seems rather insightful.
Yeah.
Sam is teaching them to talk. The old bear snorted. He'll regret that. Damn things make a lot of noise, but they never say a thing worth hearing.
Okay, this is my favorite. One of my favorite lines in the actual chapter. I think that is a way of saying, yeah, your Raven actually makes a lot of sense.
Well, what we say, our characters are often wrong.
Yeah. But then also, it was something. This was Sam. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Fly home now, brave one. Home. The Raven quarked something unintelligible back at him.
Mm-hmm.
The Raven
Yep.
answered him.
Yep.
He told the Raven to go home, and the Raven looked at him and answered.
Yep.
I mean, there's still Raven speak going on.
You think that Sam might have some skin changing ability?
It's possible. As many people in this story that are integral to the plot of this story.
Well, and we seem to have hints that people don't even know that they are, and that they are, like in terms of
the Hound,
Brandon and the Hound and Lyanna, right? Paracentaurs. right? Right. Yeah. So it could be that there's actually quite a few skin changers running around, just people don't realize it.
Right. Well, you take a guy that was raised in Horn Hill, that, as far as we know, didn't spend any time with his maester or the Ravens, comes to the wall, can't do anything else, but he excels at Ravencraft. He was chosen personally to take care of the Ravens north of the wall by Maester Aemon and Lord Mormont. I mean, that says a lot. I mean, that could be a hint. I mean, I'm fine with him being a little bit of a skin changer. How damn everybody else in the story is.
Yep. Well, all right. Let's jump down the last few paragraphs here.
Okay.
If my uncle found all these villages empty as well, he would have made it his purpose to learn why. Lord Mormont finished for him. And it may well be someone or something did not want that known. Well, we'll be 300 when Corin joins us. Whatever enemy waits out here will not find us so easy to deal with. We will find them, Jon. I promise you. Or they will find us, not Jon.
Yeah.
So George kind of makes us feel like this is the important, scary, empty villages, but the one with the actual conflict is next as we return to Arya for her 4th chapter.
Yeah. Often, you take an empty village with Dany, and especially she has a dream with Drogo. She dreams of their first night, and then she wakes up the next morning and she sets people to task. Like she knows, I mean, same as before, when she has dragon dreams, she knows how to wake the dragon. So when she has a dream with Drogon, their first night, don't know what that means, but when she wakes up the very next morning, move these stones, move these stones, we can grow more grass, we can do all this. She just sets people to task throughout the dead city. And then you get Jon to these villages, and there's nothing there. I mean, there's not even stones to move to grow grass or anything like that. They're not going to stay. But I want to say that the one thing about this one village is with the 4 huts and the sheep thing and all that stuff, they live in the shade of that enormous weirwood tree. They live directly in the shadow of their god, which living in the shadow of their god is another shadow reference. Order to... Yep, there you go. Good doggy. The pup that was promised. Will Sam work a glass candle at some point? I believe he will. I believe he has the knowledge. I'm assuming it takes some sort of magical blood, magical something about the person for them to be able to light the candle and work it. So yeah, I think Sam will be working the glass candle at the Old Town.
There you go. The other one hasn't been up here.
The other one's got to get in there too. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. The direwolf has 3 heads.
Yeah. Well, my dog last night had stir-fried chicken for the first time. She loved it.
Oh, I had this. There's a barbecue place near here. It's called Firella's Jack Stack Barbecue, and they have a cut that's basically like a combination of like prime rib and something else. I'm not sure, but they call it the Crown Prime cut, the Crown Prime rib, and it's like a whole. No, it's like a rib with like a whole other steak on it, and I fed some of that to the mutt I had before, and it was the most visible double take I've ever seen. It's like, wow, I didn't know food could be that good.
So yeah, Lizzie says magic or recently opened third eye. Agree. Maybe he will be middleman for Jon and Dany through the glass candle, Sam. That is, yeah. Well, I mean, what's the Maester Marwyn that leaves him there?
Yeah.
He leaves him there probably for a reason, and that's probably the exact reason.
So Sam has a glass candle, and Marwyn might also have a glass candle, and Quaithe probably has a glass candle.
Yeah.
Joanna Lannister might have a glass candle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's other people there. I mean, I think that Littlefinger has skin changing abilities, and there are those that think that he's using a glass candle. So, I mean, there's quite a few glass candle potentials out there in the story. Maybe the cold minutes and open your third eye. It has that effect. Now, right after you take it, it'll close that third eye along with the other two eyes and knock you out. But when you wake up, you kind of wired a little bit. So I'm like on caffeine right now. I'm just ready to go. So, but yeah, it's a fun little short chapter. I think there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Which I mean, he uses world building to throw little nuggets in there into the story that you need to know. And there's not a lot in here that you could consider nuggets. And the size of the tree, what they were feeding the tree, was it children of the forest they were burning? Is it connected to the tree that Lord Manley has at the Wolf's Den? I mean, the actual Raven repeating or answering Sam. I mean, there's little things here and there that you can pull out of the chapter and go, that's what George R. R. Martin wanted you to know. He didn't want you to know that this is their fourth village and they're headed to the lake now. He wanted you to know the stuff that's in between, the good stuff, the roots. He's a nugget giver, no doubt. Yeah, he's a fisherman, no doubt, because he'll snag your lip with a hook and just drag you down a rabbit hole in the heart. Oh, that was a good chapter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ari one, I love Ari chapters. They're so good. She's probably in my top 3 favorite chapters to read right now. Just loving it. But short chapter, short show. Started at 12:30. Worked out pretty good because Edward got to join us. Hope things are going good out there. They're not working you too hard, and at least you get a 4-day work week. So that's a plus, even though they're long days.
You see, Lizzie says that the roots. Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is true. But yeah, that's it. Short chapter. He said the roots
of the chapter. A little weird joke.
Yeah. I don't know if I meant it as a joke, but it came out that way then, didn't it? Have a good one. Late Thistle, we appreciate it. I agree with you with the Weirdwood trees being the original skin changers. So
thank you, Edward.
I catch you guys. I appreciate it, brother. Y'all have a good day. We will Friday normal 12.
Yeah.
All right, Friday, Aria, 12 o'clock. We appreciate it. I had 3 people on today, so that's just the highlight of my year right now. But we will see y'all Friday. Y'all stay safe and take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.